tonight, Ondo State government emphasizes local government's role in resolving boundary disputes. Government denies recruitment report of primary school teachers in Ondo State. Ahead 2023 census, National Population Commission discourages movement of Nigerians during exercise. And from the foreign state, Finland sets to become NATO's newest member.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on the news tonight. My name is Timile Falade. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has proceeded on a 15-working-day vacation. According to a statement by his Chief Press Secretary Richard Olatunde, the leave is the first installment of his 2023 annual leave. The statement said the letter has been transmitted to the State House of Assembly, stating that the governor will commence the leave as from today, Monday 3rd to Tuesday 25th April 2023. According to the statement, while Governor Akeredolu is away on vacation, the Deputy Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, will perform the functions of the office of the Governor. The Governor will resume for duties on Wednesday, 26th April 2023. Settling boundary issues demand continuous engagement and mutual understanding by stakeholders to put an end to lingering disputes amongst border communities in Ondo State. Acting Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa made a submission at the annual sensitization program of the State Boundary Commission held in Akure. The theme of the program is roles of local government boundary committees in boundary resolution and management.
Gathered here are the Vice Chairman of the 18 council areas of Ondo State. The essence of the coming together is to get more insight on their roles at ensuring peace reign in border communities at the local government level for sustainable development. Declaring the program open, Deputy Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa said the role of local government boundary committees cannot be waved aside because they are the closest to the people at the grassroots. Ayedatiwa restated government's commitment to do what is best at protecting lives and property of people in the 18 council areas.
If we continue to engage ourselves, that's what to maintain peace. Continuous engagement will bring about peace. Once we have at the back of our mind that in this engagement that we want to go into with the other communities, we are going with the mind of mutual understanding and mutual benefits. Once you can put that on the table in any discussion, you'll be able to reach to at least a relative peace in that area. And that is why even though the National Boundary Commission are not able to resolve a lot of these issues, but we are experiencing some kind of relative peace in some of these border communities because we are engaging ourselves on continuous basis. Once we begin to talk to ourselves and see reason why we should coexist and see reason why we should enjoy the benefits of that area together.
The Secretary of the State Boundary Commission, Mr. Idowu Owolabi, in his welcome address, said a program will further afford participants the avenue to keep engaging the people on boundary disputes at their respective council areas.
At our end, at the Commission, by the grace of God, we've started experiencing new turnaround when it comes to boundary issues. That is why we begin to organize this kind of workshop, sensitization. It is one of the statutory functions of the Boundary Commission at all levels, be at federal level or state or local government level.
Resource person Henry Adegbero emphasized the need for 18 local government areas to have their own digital administrative maps for future reference.
To be proactive, to be functional, to be well funded by government at different levels. Border communities should collaborate with government to ensure that boundary disputes are identified in earnest, investigated, managed, and resolved to ensure peaceful coexistence in our border areas, both locally and nationally.
The event featured an interactive session where participants expressed satisfaction that the program has equipped them with needed information to address border crises at their local government areas. Timile Falade, Osrc News.
130 youths in Ondo State are being empowered by the government with different skills for self-reliance. The training, which is expected to last for 2 months, has participants from across the 3 senatorial districts of Ondo State. Omoriola Humbeji reports that acting governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, who declared the event open in Akure, Ondo State capital, said the youths needed to be upskilled for self-independence and accelerated growth of the state.
In line with statistics published by the National Bureau of Statistics in 2021, unemployment rate has risen to 35%, with a prediction that Nigeria may become the world's 3rd most populous country by 2050 with over 300 million people, which may worsen the situation. To this end, the Ondo State government has deemed it fit to empower youths periodically to address this crisis. The Ondo State Youth Empowerment Program focuses on different forms of entrepreneurship skills, digital inclusion for SMEs, and brand management for creatives, aimed at equipping them to reach their full potential.
It is my pleasure to declare this training and empowerment program open.
Declaring the program open, acting governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, while hailing the initiative, said training the young generation will no doubt tackle crime and redundancy in society. He charged the participants to take the training as a rare opportunity.
You can go to the bank with this assurance that the state government is ever willing to collaborate with efforts like this at ensuring that our youth are mentally, socially, and economically equipped to face life and contribute to the overall development of Ondo State in particular and Nigeria at large.
Senior Special Assistant to Governor Akredolu on Youth Empowerment, Mr. Afolabiojo, explained that the participants were selected across the 3 senatorial districts of Ondo State.
We support programs and initiatives that enable young people build their strengths and core competencies, gather important life skills, harness potential, and become entrepreneurs, as well as create solutions to problems.
Head of Service Kayode Ogundele and other stakeholders at the program encouraged the participants to focus on the training for self-improvement and financial independence.
You have the opportunity of working for yourself and building wealth, not just for yourself, but for your nation. Mr. Governor has approved that young people with the right businesses that is paying for all their CAC registration.
And attend these classes regularly. At the end of the 2 months, you will realize that you can make a difference.
You must always remember you can be your own boss. Nothing in life is impossible. Just believe first. The only way is to get the right training.
As the governors of Ondo State are doing their own, the federal government also is interested in Ondo State, and that was why last year they built a skill acquisition center specially for Ondo State.
Successful participants were also assured of free CAC certificate registration by the state government. Omoriola Humbeji, Osrc News.
The National Population Commission (NPC) has implored Nigerians not to leave their residence during the population census. According to the United Nations Population Agency (UNFPA), Nigeria's population is estimated to be 216 million, and projections estimate the nation's population could hit 400 million by the year 2050. With 1 month away from the National Population Census, the chairman of the Public Affairs Committee of the National Population Commission (NPC), Mr. Iyitayo Yetunji, said the need for accurate information is vital for effective planning, and movement will affect this collation. Oyetunji said a census is not a census except everyone is counted, adding that a census must have universality for it to be a census. He also noted that the transparency of the exercise would be able to counter misconceptions and distrust, adding that it would foster the development of the government for the people. You're still watching Osrc News at 7. We'll take a break now. When we come back, Ondo State government debunks reports of teachers' recruitment. Do stay with us. Glad to have you back. You're still on to Osrc News at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook, Osrc TV and Osrc Ondo. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, Osrc TV Ondo. Now, the state government has debunked reports of an ongoing recruitment into the teaching workforce, describing it as a means by bad elements to swindle unsuspecting public. The chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, Victor Labinton, who said this, also noted that government is enhancing the capacity of teachers through training and retraining. Osrc's Sahid Aribisala reports that the chairman hinted that Governor Osrc has directed the repairs of schools affected by rainstorm.
In an effort to boost education at the basic level, Ondo State government in 2021 employed no fewer than 1,000 teachers under the State Universal Basic Education Board (SUBEB). But recent online reports that the board has again rolled out recruitment process, according to SUBEB chairman Victor Labinton, is false and misleading.
As far as SUBEB is concerned, no recruitment is going on, and we are not envisaging that we will do any recruitment soon. Therefore, the news on the social media all over the places that SUBEB is recruiting is fake, false, and without foundation. And if you go deep into what they are saying, Mrs. Oni, who retired 3 years ago in SUBEB, when they did the last recruitment, her name was the one put there. Therefore, it's just fake news. We are not doing recruitment. Anytime we are doing recruitment, the public will be aware. You can't do recruitment secretly.
Olabinton noted that training and retraining of teachers to meet up with global standards are receiving priority from the state government.
Here, they were in NEPA, where we trained almost all the 1,200 again. We'll give them some refresher courses. And we'll continue to train them. And this year again, by the grace of God, we will still do some trainings for them, so that new things, new ideas coming into teachers in our primary education.
He hinted that recent rainstorm, which destroyed building structures in some schools across the state, are to be repaired to enhance conducive learning environment.
And there's a lot of places where this havoc happened. The governor, in his usual characteristics of coming to the aid of education at all times, has given us the go-ahead to go and repair some of these schools. For the first time in this state, SUBEB was given some amount in the budget for repair of damaged primary schools, like these, the emergency ones. We are going to move to some of these sites. For example, in Akure here, we have this St. David's Ijomu. They have 3 blocks of classrooms there, and the 3 blocks of classrooms were completely blown off. We have one in Ayedo community. In Ilara, many schools were involved in Ilara, about 3 primary schools. And we are going to do something in Ijuodo, in Okeagbe, or War. That of our is in Ikpeme.
The SUBEB boss who noted that the execution of projects involving the board are strictly monitored to meet industry standards, said e-learning centers across the state are being equipped to function optimally. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
A constitutional lawyer, Dr. Kayode Ajilo, says those perceived to be behind the motive for interim government should be arrested and questioned. Dr. Ajilo made this known while featuring on Orange FM's program, Good Morning Nigeria. The constitutional lawyer called on the law enforcement agencies to ensure those behind the plot are brought to book.
There is a way to ensure that the law takes its course. Many individuals, organizations have been making some insightful comments. Only recently channeled an organization news agency in 5 million. But what about others? What about the likes of MC Uromo? What about the likes of Bayo Onanuga? What about the likes of all those people? And Dati Ahmed, that's the Labour Party vice presidential candidate. I think law should not be a respecter of anybody. Whoever that has done something wanting must be asked to give account for what is said. Once they are doing that, it is symbolic. You will see that everyone will know that whatever thing I say, I will be accountable for it, or without being questioned, then this thing will continue. I think again, I'm going to lay this blame on the doorstep of our security agencies. Even as I'm giving this interview, whatsoever I say or whatever I believe that I said today, not to stop them from inviting me. We are being invited every time. We attend to them, we listen to them, we give our own explanation, and at the end of the day, they won't apologize to say you can't go. But I think we should start that. Not to stop them from calling anybody. Why me and the state? It's so clear that anybody, even somebody, those with immunity, can still be investigated. There's no way. The other day, Fire Shade, as the governor of the state, as the governor was invited by the security agencies. So what stopped them from doing that now? So who in this country that is so above the law that they cannot invite? And that is, I believe, all this problem, they caused it because they are sleeping, because they are dozing. And I think it is high time they wake up to their responsibility if they really want Nigeria to remain.
Views on the controversy surrounding Federal Capital Territory FCT Abuja as one of the 36 states which should determine who wins presidential election in the country.
Dear anybody that is peddling this issue of that you must have 25% vote in Abuja before you can be president, to show me, because everything about democracy, we learn about democracy from some places, that's America, and American learn from the Greek. Show me where, anywhere in this world, the entire world of several countries, where such position is maintained. And the constitution is so clear to say that FCT, because it is not a state, sometimes should be regarded as a state, not that should be regarded above a state. Okay. But you now say 25%, that means that you are placing the FCT that has only one senatorial seat above other states. The essence of writing it that way is to differentiate FCT, and for the purpose of this election, instead of 36 states, to count that 2/3 of 36 is to count the 2/3 of 37, and that is what it is. And the only thing that lawyers should not give some funny undertaking. That is the position of the law.
Citizens to always channel their grievances through lawful and appropriate channels. The All Progressives Congress in Delta State has expelled the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovio Agege, from being a member of the APC for alleged anti-party activities and other unnamed offences. The Delta APC announced Omagege's expulsion in a letter signed by the chairman, Ulebor Isaac, on behalf of the State Executive Committee of the Delta APC and Secretary Inanna Michael and 23 others. They unanimously resolved and adopted the expulsion of Omoagege as a member of the party by the Executive Committee of the Orogun Ward and Whaley North Local Government Chapter. The embattled Deputy Senate President had also been accused of not working hard in the state to garner votes for the President-elect Bola Tinubu. President Muhammadu Buhari has celebrated multi-talented musician Ebenezer Obey on his 81st birthday, lauded the performer for 66 years of impactful global career. The president, in a statement to celebrate the veteran artist, described him as one who expands his reach through sharing knowledge, good works, and charity, guiding younger musicians to get training and skills at his musical school, counseling many against destructive habits, and providing scholarships for the less privileged with visits to orphanages and other welfare institutions. President Buhari also joined family members and friends of Obey in appreciating the singer's lifelong dedication, diligence, and sacrifices that culminated in the successes. Obey, fondly known as Chief Commander has been a vital force in the blossoming Nigerian music industry since it started out at 15 years, bringing a fusion of juju and high life into a musical band. International Brothers in 1964, metamorphosing to international reformers in the 70s. A Lagos High Court has dismissed a no-case submission filed by the suspended Assistant Superintendent of Police, Drambi Vandi, who allegedly killed a Lagos-based lawyer, Omobolanle Rahim, on December 25, 2022. Justice Ibironke Harrison ordered the defendant to open his defense as a prima facie has been made against him. In his application on the no-case submission, Vandi had asked the court to dismiss the suit and discharge him, claiming that he had no case to answer. However, the prosecution, led by the Attorney General of Lagos State, Moyosore Onigbanjo, had, however, countered the arguments and urged the defendant to defend himself, insisting that the prosecution had successfully made its case against him. The Kaduna State government has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Sabongari and Nasarawa communities in the Chekon local government area of the state following the killing of 2 persons. According to a statement by the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, the curfew is with immediate effect. The Commissioner added that security agencies have been directed to enforce the curfew in the area and restore order while investigation into the incident has commenced. The Jehovah's Witness tomorrow celebrate the annual memorial of the death of Jesus Christ. According to a statement by the spokesperson, Olusegun Eruyemi, the program will be commemorated globally. The Jehovah's Witnesses had earlier held a global program tagged, "You Can Face the Future with Confidence." This, according to Eruyemi, is on the backdrop of widespread economic strength, national conflicts, and social unrest bedeviling the global community. And now to the foreign scene. Finland's flag will be hoisted outside NATO headquarters tomorrow when it becomes the newest member of the Western Alliance. Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said tomorrow NATO will welcome Finland as the 31st member. Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine last year already and pushed Finland and its neighbor Sweden to drop decades of non-alignment and seek to join NATO's protective umbrella. Objections from Turkey and Hungary held up Elizgi's bid for months and are still blocking Stockholm before the parliament in Ankara cleared the final obstacle for Finland with a vote last week. Completing the ratification in well under a year still makes this the fastest membership process in the alliance's recent history. Still on the foreign scene, thousands of disabled Ukrainians have been institutionalized since the start of the war. Many of these patients with minimal comforts and little freedom. There are concerns Ukraine's efforts before the war to reform social services have been set back yet. Reports.
It looks like a prison exercise yard, but these men are mental health patients, captives of a different sort in the prison of the mind. They are looked after here with great care, along with the elderly and those with disabilities. Together, they make up one of Ukraine's many worsening wartime crises.
The scale is shocking, and there will be even more as psychologically damaged men return from the war.
Marina was in charge when Russian soldiers heading for Kiev surrounded the facility in February last year.
It affected them a lot. Almost every day now we take some of our boys for psychiatric treatment to support their emotional state. Some have become more aggressive after what they went through.
There was gunfire and explosions. 12 local people were killed, including 4 of our residents. The horror of it deepened the trauma, and there have been other changes. Newcomers from areas near the front lines, like Alina, who arrived here with her mother from occupied eastern Ukraine. Homeless and without relatives to care for them, it is estimated that more than 4,000 elderly Ukrainians with disabilities have ended up in state-run institutions that barely have the resources to cope.
This institution is one of the best in the Kyiv region, and you can imagine what they're like in the east, more than 800 kilometers away.
Soviet-era institutions like this were often built in remote locations deliberately to keep disabilities hidden, which is partly why this one fell in the path of the Russian invasion. Now a sector that had been modernizing before the war has been set back and is under extreme pressure. Olena stayed on to care for residents as Russian soldiers set up firing positions outside. They put mortars and ground rocket systems in the field. Over there, she explains.
There is currently a great need for these facilities for people who lost their homes, their loved ones, left alone with their problems. Who will help them except organizations like ours?
The sound of a piano brings welcome cheer. Alex has been a resident here for 4 years. When the Russians came, a friend told him to run, and so he did, returning as soon as they had left to the care that now is in high demand but short supply. Odunayo Soya, Osrc News.
And now to sports. Preston International School will take on St. Louis Girls Grammar School, Akure, in the female final of Ondo State Secondary School Basketball Championships. In the male category, Preston will battle Oyemekun Grammar School, Akure. Both finals are fixed for the Ondo State Sports Complex, Akure, on Tuesday. To get to the female final, St. Louis defeated Stella Maris College, Okitipupa, while Preston College defeated Impact College in the semi-finals. Preston eliminated Stella Maris College, Okitipupa, just as Oyemekun shut out Aquinas College, Akure, in the male event. Before we go tonight, let's remind you that Ondo State government has affirmed the role of local government areas in resolving boundary disputes. We told you that the Ondo State Universal Basic Education Board has debunked reports of an ongoing recruitment into the teaching workforce, describing it as a means by bad elements to swindle unsuspecting public. High 2023 census, the National Population Commission has discouraged the movements of Nigerians during the exercise. And from the foreign scene, we told you that Finland is set to become NATO's newest member with the hoisting of its flag outside NATO headquarters tomorrow.